Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final episode of the tier list series. I hope you guys have been enjoying this. I hope it's been helpful. We are taking a look at the void items today. I don't think I'll do lunars because I have not looked at them enough. I don't use them very frequently, so I can't give you an accurate tier list. But if you really want to see lunars, let me know and I'll see if I can make it happen. But for today, we're doing the void items. We're going to go through all of them. There aren't that many. They're just the ones you see at the bottom of your screen. One row. Should be pretty quick. But if you like what you see and you've liked the past ones, consider subscribing. I post every Sunday. I do an Eclipse run, and I'll post these or things like this, small fun videos here and there. But subscribe if you enjoy. I also stream my Eclipse runs on Twitch, so go check out the Trento if you are interested. That being said, let's get right into it and begin the tier list. We'll go through the tiers here and then we'll just start off with the first one. First off, we have Do a Happy Dance. If you find this item, literally you will do a happy dance. You just get out of your chair, do a little dancey dance. Then we have Rubs Hands Together Menacingly, because you know you've gotten a good item and it's very solid. Then we got some room for improvement, but it's still a good item. Then we have C. It's been here the whole series. It's just C. It's not going to change. It's the middle one. You got an average item on your hands. Then we have Borderline. Okay, it's not... well, watch yourself. Then we have No! Which is you would wish it was most other things. And then we have Run and Hide. This item is not to be picked up by any human. Nobody should touch this item. It's terrible and you should run away. Let's start with Needle Tick. C. Put it right in the middle. Needle Tick is fine. It's similar to Bleed. It's a pretty linear move. Instead of stacking Bleed that does damage over time, it stacks Collapse, which will then, once it's been there for a long enough time and you stop stacking it, it will collapse and do a chunk of damage. Solid, sometimes can be hard to proc with certain survivors, so it can be good, can be bad. We'll put it in the middle. Then we have Newly Hatched Zoya. This one's interesting because it's the void version of any yellow item. Any boss item will turn into this if you pick one of these up. So I'm going to put it in Borderline. I don't think it's that bad, but you can lose out on really good boss items like a Molten Perforator or a Shatter Spleen to get a Newly Hatched Zoya. It'll basically spawn a void enemy to fight alongside with you, similar to Happiest Mask. It can spawn a void reaver, a void jailer, a void devastator even, and that's really helpful when you're fighting Mythics. So it actually can come in really clutch. They're really beefy distractions for Mythics, so it could be worse, but it's Borderline. Then we have the Pluripetent larva? I don't even really know the word. It's a weird word. You get the Dio's Best Friend corrupted version. I'm going to put this in Rubs Hands Together Menacingly. And you'll see why as we go through the rest of this tier list. But a lot of these void items are very good versions of their default counterparts. This gives you a free life, and when you die and come back, it turns all of the voidable items into the void versions. So any item that could be voided gets turned voided, and usually that's an upgrade. So most of the time this is going to be a great item, and some people when they're trying to race the game fast will kill themselves on purpose to get the better void items, and they'll ruin their free life just for a chance at faster damage. So very, very good, solid item. Then we have Longus, which is the voided version of the Bustling Fungus. Wungus is a fun, or Rungus I mean. It's kind of just a fun version of it. It's a significant upgrade from its counterpart. Instead of healing after standing still for a second, ew, you heal while sprinting, which is extremely helpful. Healing isn't the best in this game, because, you know, ideally you're doing other things, you're avoiding attacks and da-da-da, but very good item, room for improvement, but solid nonetheless. Then we have the Plasma Shrimp. This is my favorite item to nickname because we call it the Plimp. I mean, how fun is that? Or the Cautious Slug, which we call the Clug, which oddly enough just showed up right here. The Clug and the Plimp are my favorite acronyms, but Plasma Shrimp, do a happy dance, baby, takes over the ATG, which to be fair is already a really good green item. However, the Plasma Shrimp in most cases is better. It fires out a group of missiles that do less damage than an ATG, but it is not a percent chance. It is a guaranteed chance as long as you have the shield that is supplied by the Plasma Shrimp. So it just is a guaranteed extra bit of damage on every single hit. So characters like Commando, every bullet is getting plimps thrown at the enemy. Great tier item. Encased Key going up right next to the larva. Encased Key is really nice. It turns the normal key into this, and instead of giving you a lockbox with a large chest item in it, it gives you a void chest or a void little box with 3 void items to choose from. You can choose one of them. And with all these items being so good, the chances of one of the 3 being good and you getting to choose it, extremely helpful, and just a really good item. It'll help you through your runs, I promise you. Then we have Benthic Bloom. You know the drill. Bring it in. Bring it in. Come here, huddle up. I need you to run. I need you to hide. You should never see this in your runs. Please run. It's like a Shrine of Order. Terrible, 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 terrible item. There's a very small chance it could be amazing, but it's all luck-based, extremely unpredictable. It takes 3 of your items, of any rarity, 3 random ones. So your Goat Hoofs, your Gore's Tomes, and your Ukuleles, right? Whatever they are. 3 random items. And it will upgrade them to a random item of the next level. So if it picks crowbars, and you have 1 crowbar, it'll turn that crowbar into a random green item. If you have 5 crowbars, it turns all 5 into 5 random of 1 green item. Same with green. If it takes your ATGs and you have 10 ATGs and it decides that's one of the items I'm upgrading, you could get 10 Brilliant Behemoths. Brilliant Behemoths only stack once. So it's just not helpful. It's extremely unpredictable. You can lose really important items with it. You can get good stuff, but it's more about not knowing what you're going to lose. That's the scary part. I would avoid it, especially since it's the void version of the 57 Leaf Clover, one of the best legendaries in the game. Avoid the Benthic Bloom. Then we have Tenta Bobble. I'm going to put that in C, because it's very survivor dependent. It takes over the Chrono Bobble and will root enemies, so completely stop them rather than slow them like the Chrono Bobble, so very much an upgrade, but it's on chance to hit, so Loader's not going to get much use out of it. You could say it's a little higher than Needle Tick, because when it happens it's still good, versus Needle Tick when it happens it's just 1 tick of Needle Tick. Either way, a mediocre item that can be good and bad depending on who you're using. Then we have, oh boy, the Voided Crit Glasses. No. No. Not good. It will, obviously it takes the Lens Maker's glasses and corrupts them. And it turns the 10% critical hit chance from the Lens Maker's glasses into a 0.5% chance to insta-kill for the Lost Seer's lenses. A 0.5% chance to insta-kill any non-boss enemy. So Mithrix it's useless. And a 0.5% chance, if you had a 100% chance to crit, so you doubled all of your damage, and then you picked up one of these, you would then shrink down to a 5% chance to insta-kill a non-boss enemy. Not at all worth the switch. That's a bad item. I would avoid it. Something you're not avoiding, Safer Spaces, takes over the Tougher Times Teddy. Works a little bit differently. It is a guaranteed block of the next incoming damage while active, and it has a cooldown. I think it's 15 seconds. And it can be reset by Blast Shower. So if you're about to get hit by something, and it hits you super hard, it'll just block all the damage, and it's stackable, so you can have a bunch of them. Extremely good, especially against Mithrix, It will hit you only a couple times, but really hard. So it's not damage reduction, it's complete damage block and guaranteed. Very, very good. The Singularity Band. Oh my goodness. Ew, I had to use these in one of my runs because I had the larva, the Dio's best friend version, and it turned 9 ice bands into 9 singularity bands, and my Mithrix fight took forever. They do not do a lot of damage. They take over both of the other bands, which is brutal. On a hit that would normally proc normal bands, it will create a little black hole area that traps enemies inside, and then after like 5 seconds or something ridiculously long, it will collapse and do a little bit of damage, I guess. It's so brutal, and it'll ruin your bands. Leave it on the floor. Then we have the Life State Cell going in C because it's survivor specific. What we've always done here. Some survivors, like Mercenary, super good. You get an extra charge of your special skill, which would be like Artificer's Ion Surge, that 4th skill. You get an extra charge. Super good, except it comes at the cost of a fuel cell, so if you have a good equipment, you can no longer get fuel cells for that equipment. But you get that extra special skill. Some characters it's not that good on, some it is really good on. Engineer, you can only have 1 because you can't just keep putting turrets on the ground. The game won't let you. So Life State Cell has its perks, has its downsides, not that bad. Voidescent Flame, room for improvement. Voidescent Flame, to be honest, don't know exactly how it works. It's the Will-O-Wisp equivalent, so it's a good upgrade because Will-O-Wisp kind of sucks. Instead of when enemies die, they explode at the beginning of you shooting at them. So you can do a lot of damage at the front load on that first shot and still do area of effect damage around it. So it just is an easier way to kill enemies, a helpful item, but there's room for improvement. And then, what we've all been waiting for. The final item, not only of the Void items, not only of this episode, but the whole series. We have the Poly Loot. We are going to start here, and we're just going to move our way right up to the Do a Happy Dance God tier item. Poly Loot takes over Ukulele, and instead of Ukulele proccing lightning on a bunch of enemies, it procs all of it on the same enemy. It is basically like a looping attack. It looks like an anime punch sequence. When you hit an enemy, you can hit an enemy 6 times with that one attack. It is a chance to hit, or a chance to proc on hit, and will just multiply your damage. And Plimp and Polyloot combo, they can proc each other. So an extremely helpful combo to have both. Just going to town on an enemy, it can reroute a run fully from that point on. It'll save your life many a times and multiply your damage by a lot. But that is the Void item, the Corrupted items tier list. If you have different opinions, let me know your wrong opinions in the comments. I want to hear them. Subscribe if you're enjoying, because I want to do other small stuff like this that's not just the Eclipse runs. But I hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you next time.